Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. So good to see y'all in this holiday season. I know a lot of y'all are ripping and running, and I am too. You know, traveling. I'm not feeling so great. I'm fighting a cold, so you have to excuse me. I'm not in the normal studio, so I know the lighting and everything ain't perfect. The audio ain't perfect, but I at least wanted to shout y'all out because I'm so excited to be here with y'all to talk about some important stuff. I'm just gonna wait a minute for the room to fill up. Wait for people to come in here so we can talk about this issue. Bishop T.D. Jakes fires back at the allegations that have been made about him. And y'all have heard everything. About a week ago, almost, I said to y'all that I wasn't going to touch the T.D. Jakes allegations because they were such distant rumors, meaning they weren't on mainstream headlines. They weren't in mainstream news outlets. And I didn't want a TikTok story to become a mainstream story simply because everybody's talking about it. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true. The point is, I didn't want to advance a story that hadn't been verified, confirmed, or anything else. But in the last week, it's gotten bigger and bigger, the story has. And now Bishop Jakes has responded himself. And so Bishop Jakes has responded, then I feel comfortable responding. And so Bishop T.D. Jakes, responded to the allegations that have been going on around about him for the last week, which involved him being at the place and the time when inappropriate activities have been happening. Now, I say inappropriate in quotes because some are inappropriate just because of people's sensibilities. Others are inappropriate because they actually were alleged crimes. And then other things were inappropriate, maybe not for some people, but they would be inappropriate for a bishop, for a pastor, for a man of God to be a part of. So there's like different categories. There's like, that's freaky, that ain't my thing. Then there's, that's illegal, we shouldn't do that. And then there's, you're too much of a leader to do that. And all three of those kinds of allegations have come up. Y'all can go on the internet and get the details of the specific allegations against Bishop T.D. Jakes. Again, I don't want to swim in the messiness of each detail. I think that will come out if it needs to come out. But what became interesting to me was his response to it. And I do think it's fair that if we cover the rumor and then people cover that he hasn't said anything, then we have to cover that he now has said something. And then I'll tell you about my thoughts on this whole story, because I have different thoughts on the story that aren't necessarily about Bishop Jakes, but are about the way we're covering it and the way we're talking about it as a media community, because we're taking something that is a TikTok rumor and treating it like it's gospel, no pun intended. Anyway, Bishop Jakes gave you his response yesterday. His team issued a statement. They called the allegations against Bishop Jakes unequivocally false and baseless. Now, again, I'm not making a case for what's true. I'm not making a case for what's not true. What I'm telling you, though, is that Bishop Jakes' team, and I'm getting this from the Atlanta Black Star, they say unequivocally false and baseless, right? And they don't go into any more specificity. They say just the story linking him, Bishop Jakes, to Sean Diddy Combs. Now, it's hard to know what that means, right? Because if you don't address, if 50 million things are coming out and you don't address the specifics of any of them, then it's hard to know what you're saying isn't true. Like, it's a fact that Bishop Jakes knows Diddy, right? It's a fact that Bishop Jakes is someone who goes to the parties. But he's a friend, and bishops can go to parties, right? So that's not a crime in and of itself, but these are the things that we know are true. People say that he gets into the wild parts of the parties. Again, y'all can look that stuff up for yourself if you care. I don't know what he's actually denying or denouncing. And again, he may not feel like he needs to go into any more specificity. But if he's saying that the stories are unequivocally false and baseless, he's saying people are just making stuff up about it. Cool. But then today, Bishop Jakes himself spoke out. Because there are times when a spokesperson, a publicist is a perfectly fine proxy for you. You get somebody to step in and talk for you for whatever reason. I'm not here to judge that. Sometimes it's wise. Sometimes it's strategic. But he did it one way or the other. But everybody was waiting for Sunday's sermon. Even if you aren't a Potter's House member, even if you aren't a churchgoer, even if you ain't Christian, a whole bunch of folk was on that on that live stream today to figure out what Bishop Jakes was going to say. And I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those people. I wanted to know what he's going to say. Now, I didn't get a chance to actually check the sermon out, but I did immediately go find the clip to see if he was going to address it in his sermon. There's a long history in American churches of pastors getting accused of things. Sometimes they're innocent, sometimes they're guilty, but they often have addressed it in their Sunday sermon. Think about Jimmy Swaggart. Some of y'all older remember Jimmy Swaggart. I have sinned. And he starts crying because he got caught with prostitutes many times, by the way. Many, many times, Jimmy Swaggart. Other people have stood up in their churches and said, I didn't do it. But if you're a religious leader and you're a spiritual leader and people look to you as an exemplar, a moral exemplar, then you got to say something. Otherwise, it raises questions. So Bishop Jakes starts Sunday service, like this. I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull it up for y'all because I need y'all to see this. Oh, am I frozen? Hey, y'all, I'm back, y'all. Y'all here with me? Let me know. Hit the like button if y'all see me. He said the sin got me. That's funny. Y'all think the Illuminati got me? Y'all think the Illuminati all up in my internet? Y'all think y'all think they got me? Yo, y'all is wilding, yo. Y'all back? Okay, we back. All right, all right, all right. Let me pull this thing up, man. I have to edit this later so we can figure this thing out. Hit the like button if you back on. You can hear me, y'all. See, you have sinned, Mark. Yeah, for sure. Ain't got nothing to do with my internet though. Yo, look. All right, let me see. So TD Jakes, what was I? TD Jakes was silent for a week. People said that was suspicious. His team put out a statement yesterday, which y'all saw, saying it was baseless. And people said, well, why didn't he speak for himself? And so then Bishop Jakes made his own statement. Now, it wasn't what some of you wanted to hear, but he made his own statement. I'm going to show you what the statement said. and I'm going to take it from my friends at the Shade Room. Here's what the bishop said. Log off. He said, but there will be a time. Y'all couldn't hear that? Okay. I'm sorry. All right, my tech game is off today. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play it for y'all so y'all can hear it. But in the meantime, basically what Bishop said was, if you came here for me to address this, you came to the wrong place. He said, just log off. He said, I am not going to use this sacred day and this sacred pulpit to address a lie when I could when I could preach a truth. That's what he said. He said, not today. He said, he said, but there will be a time. So he said, I'm gonna tell y'all one day, but not in this church. So again, not the worst answer, but people still say he ain't addressing them. But look, he said it was a lie, and his team said it was a lie. I don't know what else he could say that would make people feel better about this, right? But he then said something else. So I'm in the middle of the sermon. Bishop Jakes, I'm having some tech problems today, y'all. That's why I'm doing it this way. Bishop Jakes, in the middle of his sermon, addressed it again. He said, I don't care what you think about me. Here's what he said.
Come in out of concern.
Y'all hear that?
Some of you come in to hear what I'm going to say. All of you who expect me to address a lie, you can log off. I will not use this sacred day and this sacred pulpit to address a lie when I have a chance to preach a truth.
He was firm. Somebody said, Harriet Boating said, Mark, stop defending him. You will continue to have problems, tech problems when you lie for this man. What lie did I tell? I want you, Harry, to tell me what lie I told about TD Jakes. And I want you to tell me when I defended him. I'm saying, I don't know if the man did it or didn't do it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I've never been invited to no Diddy party. I ain't never been to no Diddy party. I've never even been in the same room with TD Jakes. To think about that, other than when I interviewed him at Huffington Post. So no, I have no idea what they be doing. And I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm simply saying what he said. That's my job, is to report what was said. And it's not fair to report that he was accused of it and not report that he denied it. I mean, come on. But there's a deeper point here I'm gonna get to. But I do appreciate that I'm sorry, I do appreciate that people have demanded a response. You are not a corporate CEO. You are not a you are not a private attorney. You can't say, well, I'm going to mind my own business, or people need to mind their own business. No, we come to you as a leader. Listen to this. That's not the clip. That's not the clip. That's not the clip. I'll find the clip, but wait, here. Listen to this, y'all. This is the important part.
You can't spend the rest of your life apologizing for stuff you can't change. And God will strengthen your shoulders, I believe, before you leave this room. You know what I was really worried about all week? Our terrorists still at its highest level.
He's worried about terrorists.
I spent my week making sure that everything that we needed was in place.
I don't believe that. I don't.
It's supposed to be against synagogues and churches in the South.
You think the biggest thing TD Jakes were worried about is terrorists?
And we have all kinds of extra security precautions.
We don't believe you.
All kinds of security in place. Think about that.
We don't believe
so
you.
a car bomb don't come up in.
He hasn't. He's projecting confidence, right? He's saying, "Look, I was worried about terrorists. I was worried about Al Qaeda, man. I wasn't worried about what y'all be saying about me today." We don't believe you, son. However, we'll keep going. I don't believe that. I don't think. I think he wants to believe that. I don't necessarily think that's true. There's no way he hasn't been worried about this all week. I mean, he should be innocent or guilty. He should be worried about this all week. I mean, I would be worried about this all week if I were him. But there's a bigger point here. We're gonna get there. Stay with me, y'all. So at the end of it, he said, "Look, I don't care what you all think about me. I know who I am." Okay. As a pastor, first of all, you kind of have to care what people think about you. Not in the sense that you have to be obsessed with other people's opinions, but part of what it means to be a pastor, a rabbi, an imam, whatever it is, that you're a leader for people. But now he's declared on the record that it's all not true. Time will tell. History will tell whether or not there's a story here. But here's my issue with how we're telling this story. And I'm going to do a whole other live about this. But I wanted to make sure, I want to make sure that we get this. I see people saying we don't have respect for ourselves. I guess that's why many random. Y'all be saying that. I mean, he is rich, but I don't know if that's how he. Let's see. TD Jakes has been in the public eye for 3 decades now. And this is the first major scandal. The kind that threatens your career, the kind that threatens your empire, the kind that threatens what you do. There have been stories about him and everybody else in the world, right? But I'm talking about this is something else. And for the last 6 days, we've been talking about this story as if it is an accepted fact. I had somebody call me last week and say, well, Cassie brought those files over to, they confirmed that Cassie brought those files over to the FBI. And I was like, what are you talking about? I did my Googling, I did my searching, didn't have it. But we're taking all of these pieces and treating them like they're true. So the first part of the story is that Cassie has secret USB drives and burner phones, some of which she got from Kim Porter, the mother of Diddy's children, who passed away a few years ago tragically. And that she was turning that stuff into the FBI. In fact, that she did turn the stuff into the FBI. And that upon reviewing those files, somehow TD Jakes came out of it. And then out of TD Jakes' name being mixed up in the files and all the secret tapes and stuff, there are allegations about TD Jakes being involved in a range of sexual activities and et cetera, et cetera. So it's all these things, right? And I was like, well, where is the evidence? This isn't about me not believing the victim or the perpetrator. There is no one has come forward. I keep looking for the story. And again, let me be very clear. I'm not saying it's not true. It would not shock me one bit if it's true. It also would not shock me if it's not true. My best guess is that the truth is somewhere in there and that it's not all not true, but I have no idea. I have no idea what's true or what's not true. I have no idea. But I did my research because I can't just put out a story without doing research. And I tried to unravel it. I have not seen Cassie or Cassie's attorney claim that they turned stuff into the FBI. If that exists, I could be wrong, but show it to me. I haven't seen that. I haven't heard her lawyer confirm it, but we're acting as if that part is true. I've never heard Cassie claim that Kim Porter gave her anything. Again, I'm not saying that's not true. What if I were guessing? I'd say it is true. But we're saying it like it's an established truth, and we don't know that. Look at this. Keelak said, we know Cassie gave names to the feds, so we can say the Fed knows and watches people. How do we know that Cassie gave names to the feds? This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I'm not saying she didn't. But how do we know that? We can't just assume that that's true. No one is, Cassie didn't tell us that. If Cassie said, look, I gave a name to the feds, I'd believe you. If the Fed said, yo, Cassie gave us some names and Cassie denied it, I'd say, well, somebody lying. Nobody's claimed this. We're just believing it. So then I dug some more. Oh, well, Bishop Jakes' name came out of it. I've never heard Cassie say TD Jakes' name at all. I'm confused, y'all. Hit the like button if you understand my confusion here. Somebody said 600 and some people only 122. Like, sorry, I don't know that 400 plus people on 122. I don't know what that means. I guess I'm slacking on my likes. But let's keep going, right? And I'm saying this again. I'm not saying that TD Jakes is innocent. And I'm not saying that TD Jakes is guilty. I have no idea. But what I am saying is, let's not run with a story when none of the facts have been confirmed. That's the only thing I'm saying. Does it seem curious to me that this story's coming out right now? Yeah. Does it seem weird that they picked him? Of course. I'm not saying that. I get why y'all would be suspicious. I'm just saying that it might not be true. And we can't just run with stuff. So then somebody said, well, no, there's a video proving it. So I watched the video. It's a TikTok video. And the TikTok video, the sister that I saw breaking it down, was referencing another social media video. Neither of the video has a single source. Neither of the videos offers a shred of evidence, a picture, a file, not even an anonymous source. So I just don't know why media outlets are being irresponsible here. Let me be very clear. If a victim comes forward, we should believe the victim. We should listen to the victim. We should engage the victim. No victim has come forward, to my knowledge. If there is, that's different. If Cassie said this was true, I say, let's listen to Cassie. Cassie hasn't said anything. So I don't want to assume that because it's on TikTok, without a journalist, without a source, without a reference, without somebody directed. I'm just saying we as a media outlet can't just run with it. Now, that said, there is a very interesting trend here. Someone here in this very chat talked about Bishop Eddie Long. And I know a lot of y'all know Bishop Eddie Long. Bishop Eddie Long was the pastor of New Birth. And New Birth was in Atlanta, Lithonia, Georgia, excuse me. And he was accused of this. Now, what made Eddie Long's story interesting to me was that Eddie Long was leading marches against gay people. He was literally leading marches against gay people. And then he had accusations that he was engaged in extramarital sexual encounters with males. Then it became alleged that they were underage males. So he did so, as Love Move said, right? He started off by saying it's a lie. Then people unpacked and peeled and found out that there was some truth to it. They unpacked and they peeled and they found out that it was totally true. A couple days ago, I posted a video of an interview I did with Bishop JAKES, where we talked about LGBTQ issues in the church, and he was very clear, I thought, in what he said. But then he posted a clarifying comment afterward, explaining that he does not believe in same-sex marriage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He believes being gay is a sin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very interesting context here that we see a lot of major Black religious leaders, and not just Black. Look at Ted Haggard. We see a lot of major evangelical, right-wing, conservative, whatever you want to call them, religious leaders, Black, white, whatever, speaking out and demonizing gay, lesbian, bisexual, and trans folk, and then often finding stories that they're engaged in the very things that they're demonizing. And Eddie Long was ridiculous with it, because Eddie Long was actually leading marches. He didn't just say it, he was leading a march consistently. So when you see that kind of stuff, it does raise eyebrows. When you see mega church preachers, it does spark a curiosity. When you see people who are supposed to be stewards and servants of God with private jets like Creflo Dollar, you start to wonder what the relationship is between these huge platforms and this huge amount of access, this huge amount of wealth, this huge amount of control. Jesse Lee Peterson, that's another one. I'm glad you said that. Jesse Lee Peterson is one of the Republicans that does that. There's a whole lot of Republican white men that do that too, but Jesse Lee Peterson is a perfect example. Jesse Lee Peterson is a Black man who hates being Black. I literally think he is the inspiration for Uncle Ruckus. But he speaks out against gay people. He marches against gay people. He demonizes gay people. And according to, I believe it was the LA Times, I checked, but it was definitely a major newspaper. I think it was the LA Times. They say he's had so many sexual harassment complaints from men. So many sexual misconduct allegations from men. And so there's often this thing where the people are protesting too much. Is that Eddie Long? Yes. Is that Jesse Lee Peterson? Absolutely. But that does not mean that it's T.D. Jakes. It also doesn't mean that it wasn't. So what we need to do is wait for the evidence to come out. We need to wait for the facts to come out. And if one victim comes forward, I'm listening to them. If one accuser comes forward, I'm listening to them. This isn't a thing where I'm saying don't believe it. I'm saying I don't know if this is just a TikTok story. I've seen TikTok just make shit up too. But I'm fascinated by this, y'all. I am genuinely and truly fascinated by this story. I'm fascinated by how it's resonating. I'm fascinated by who it is. And I'm fascinated by the timing of it. Not in a suspicious way, but in a like, the last couple of months have been extraordinary for the amount of disclosures and reckonings we've had and we've seen. But T.D. Jakes is here to say, as I can see in his sermon today, look, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not backing down. He said, I'm standing here back straight, standing tall. That's what he said. He said he's not going nowhere. Look, I'm going to roll soon, y'all, but if y'all got questions, now's the time. I'm going to take a few questions before I go. In the meantime, I want to shout out Lucen Marshall for becoming a member of the channel. We love you. We appreciate you, yo. I love when people join the channel, y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button right now. If you in this live, hit the subscribe button. But on top of the subscribe button, I want y'all to hit the join button if you can, yo. In this holiday season, it'll be great to be able to expand. As y'all know, I added a whole new podcast to the channel with Mumia Abu-Jamal. If you haven't checked that out, I have a weekly podcast. We do about 2-3 episodes a week with Mumia Abu-Jamal, the political prisoner. He's been falsely accused and falsely incarcerated. He was on death row for 3 decades. He still stays in the dungeons of Pennsylvania prisons. And every week we do a podcast through the phone together. It's my brother. It's called The Classroom in the Cell. You can find it on the Marc Lamont Hill official channel as well. We got a lot of stuff going on, but I want to shout out Luce and Marshall for joining, because by joining, that just created so much opportunity. Margaret Blair, thank you for joining. When you join, you create so much opportunity for us to build that platform, to give more space for more voices, for more things, y'all. I'm so grateful to y'all for making that happen. You have no idea. I want to thank Ty Savage for dropping something in our coin jar. And you gave more than a coin, man. I love it. Hoping you're considering having Tim Black on the show. Yo, everybody is a possibility if they have something to add to the channel, yo, if they have something to add to the conversation. I'm not familiar with Tim Black off the top of my head, but we'll figure it out. We got a couple comments coming in. Any comments here before we roll? Questions, comments? Somebody said everybody is being accused. This is very dangerous for actual victims. I can't tell what's real with so many YouTube screens. You know, when we say actual victims, the only thing I don't want to do is suggest that there aren't actual victims here. I don't want to assume that there aren't actual victims in a lot of the stories that have come up on YouTube. Let's not assume that people aren't victims because they've used social media to tell their story. Let's not assume people aren't victims because they waited 10 years or 20 years. Again, there are lots of reasons why people wait. Lots of legitimate reasons why people wait. Fear, power dynamics, what do you call it? Sublimating or submerging the memory and making yourself forget. I mean, there's lots of legitimate reasons. So I don't want to assume that that's the case. I want to shout out Free 60, yo. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for being a part of what we're doing. You have no idea how much that means, yo. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's so dope. That's so dope. Are you still a tenured professor? Yes. So unfortunately, nobody can just get me up out of there arbitrarily or randomly. But yes, I am a tenured professor. Sabrina Michelle said she just subscribed. Sabrina Michelle, thank you for subscribing to the channel. We love you. We appreciate you, yo. It means so much. We're gonna take 2 more questions, then we out of here. And if you got a questions off topic, that's okay. Just hit the super chat, and you can be welcome to throw in with a question that ain't got nothing to do with this. Accusation. Somebody said, what should Tyler Perry do? Should he clear his name? Tyler Perry has not been accused of anything yet. Everything is innuendo. Christian Keys came out with a statement. People thought it was about Tyler Perry. And then people said, well, it's not about Tyler Perry. Then he came out and said, I didn't say it was not Tyler Perry. In other words, I don't know if Tyler Perry did anything or not. I have no idea. But he hasn't been cleared, but he also hasn't been accused. It's all floating in the ether. So again, let's not assume that it's true, but also let's not assume that it's not true. The hardest part about being in a 24-hour news cycle where there's social media and everybody's talking simultaneously and everybody's fighting for your attention is that people come forward with stories that 10 years ago we would have waited 2 weeks. Because again, I ain't saying we shouldn't tell these stories, but we should have waited 2 weeks. We could have corroborated it. We could have gotten another piece of evidence. We could have gathered another fact. These are the things you do when you are doing journalism. But the internet is not journalism most of the time. And so people just jump on it. And then the news outlets are losing so much money and so much space to the bloggers that they jump out the window before it's time. And then once they jump out the window before it's time, now it's real. Because it's not just johnsmith.com doing it. It's a network with some letters behind it doing it. And that makes everything different. Oh my God, Lee Royster, my brother. I'm so grateful. Lee A. Royster Jr. dropped some serious love onto the channel, man, and said, I appreciate Dr. Hill. May your holiday season be filled with joy, love, and happiness. Thanks for investing your talents, skills, and abilities in us. Brother, hearing you say that means everything to me, but you also just described what I'm trying to do. I'm literally investing in us. The reason why we have this channel here, the reason what the Marc Lamont Hill YouTube channel is about, is not for attention. I have a daily TV show. I have an international TV show, one in the US, one around the world. I'm good. You know what I mean? I got plenty of platforms. But the idea here is that I can tell a different story here. We can have a different conversation here. We can do something else here. Somebody sent me a question that's not on topic, but they did it with a super chat, so I'm not going to be mad. Let me see. Philip Blair said, did you see the short sermon against genocide and racism from Bethlehem, Palestine? I did not, but I will watch it tonight because I need to. Tonight, I'll be back on the channel probably in about 2 hours to talk Palestine, to talk Bethlehem, to talk Jerusalem, and of course, to talk Gaza. So please come back on tonight. We'll talk about that. I want to shout out Jack Jackson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the channel. We need you. We appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. Somebody said, "Miss the Black News Network. Watched you daily." I appreciate that, sister. I am on the Griot every day, so you can go to the Griot and see me online. I mean, not online, on cable news. I'm on real TV every day on the Griot. Every single day, you can check that out. Somebody said, "Did they used to call you Cousin Jeff on BET? Was that you?" No, that was Jeff. Jeff is my brother, but that was Jeff Johnson. That was Jeff Johnson. I'm Mark. He's Jeff. They call Jeff Cousin Jeff. They called me Mark. But Jeff and I have a series of conversations that you can find on the channel, and Jeff and I are going to be. Hopefully, I'm gonna kick it with Jeff this week, and we're gonna build so we can figure out some other things, so we can collaborate more. Kareem came in with the super chat. This is crazy allegations. TD Jakes is being accused of molesting a parishioner. That's defamation if not true. Also, great job about Gaza. Thank you for the love about Gaza. To answer your question, TD Jakes is being. We don't know if TD Jakes has been accused of doing something to a parishioner. I'm not saying he hasn't been, but what happened was, again, a TikToker cited another TikToker who said that somebody said that might have happened. So again, if a victim comes forward, I don't listen to them. I'm not saying we shouldn't believe the victim, but we don't even know if there's a victim. It could just be a rumor, or it could be true. Again, I'm not hinting that it's not true, and I'm not hinting that it's true. I'm saying we have to accept that sometimes we don't have enough information and that we need to gather more information to find out. Somebody says this is a Resist t-shirt. Yeah, it says Resist. I got this through the Dream Defenders down in Florida. Shout out to my fam down there. Y'all, Danny, grow up, Danny. Grow up, Danny. Grow up, Danny. Be better. Michelle Obama said, "Be better, be best." We need y'all to do that. All right, y'all. I'm out. I gotta go, man. I'm getting to come home text. I ain't far, but it's time to put the baby to bed. It's one of the great things in life, man. So I'm gonna go do that right now. But wanted to shout y'all out. Wanted to send y'all some love. I appreciate y'all. And again, I'm coming back on tonight to talk Palestine. So we talk some. This ain't light, but we talk some culture stuff. Next we're gonna be talking. Some politics. So keep me in your prayers, keep me in thoughts, and I'll see y'all later. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. God bless. And again, hit the like button, hit the join button. I'll see y'all in 2 hours.